Volleyball in the Philippines has made great strides in the past decade as it grew from a middling sport into one of the most popular ones in the country. The PSL has been one of the main catalysts of volleyball's surge in popularity, with talented and charismatic stars at the forefront. But then, seemingly in a snap, everything went kaput. The COVID-19 pandemic blocked the PSL's long and fruitful rally. The league already submitted a proposal to the IATF to allow teams to resume practice in hopes of jump-starting the resumption of the season. However, there's still no green light. The players have been staying in shape as they're eagerly waiting to return to action. But as of now, that's the only thing they can do. Wait. Can the PSL still salvage its 8th season and answer the fans' clamor? That's the headline on tonight's Sports Page.
The hottest headlines.
The integral issue.
Who will join the pantheon of the great?
What's the outlook of the future of sports?
The game changers.
The history makers.
Stories that make sports eternally compelling.
Open the Sports Page.
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of your Sports Page. You know, on our Twitter threads, there have been tons of questions from PSL fans. Kailan babalik yung laro? Namimiss na namin ang mga laro. Nasaan na ba yung mga favorite players namin? Hindi naman ganun ang boses nila. Pero Twitter kasi. Kailan tweet ang tunog, partner? Kaya we're doing a volleyball show, Chiki.
That's right. Part 2 or part, this is my favorite thing. I'm glad I'm on with you today, Seb. Alam mo naman, when it comes to volleyball, hindi tayo nauubusan dyan. We're always interested. The first part of when we first started our show, ang isa sa mga buena mano natin, ang PSL. We talked about it and we want to know what happened lately, no? Kung meron tayong mga updates that we can get from, of course, the Commissioner of PSL, Ian Laurel, who is joining us today. Hey, Ian, thanks for joining us.
Kiki.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, we also have some of the players. We have Bang Pineda of Santa Lucia Lady Realtors, ang kanilang libero, at ang libero din ng F2 Logistics Cargo Mover, si Michelle Morente. And we have Fiola Ceballos, Signal HD Lady Spiker, outside hitter. Welcome to all of our ladies. Ladies, I will start with our only thorn among the roses. Yan, natanong ko na, ano ba, since na saw you, gwapo ka pa rin, maganda pa rin ang aura kahit na COVID, di ba? O, ang ganda ng intro ko sa'yo. Kantahan mo naman yung balita natin sa PSL.
Oh yeah, remember when 2 months ago when we first talked, Chiki and Sev, we were seeking the approval for the resumption of training, conditioning and practices. And maganda naman naging resulta. We have been allowed since last month to start training as individuals, meaning as a small group. There are few regulations, but unfortunately, yung kasunod nun, yung competition ang nagbago. Remember, during 2 months or 3 months ago, actual competition and tournaments should have been allowed during the category of MGCQ. Kasi the activities that will be allowed were dependent on the quarantine level or the quarantine category. However, dun sa latest na meeting namin with a joint committee like GAB, PSC, and DOH, it was clear that only professional sports, whether contact or non-contact, basta professional, will be allowed to resume competition and tournaments. All non-professional sports, hindi papayagan until there is a vaccine or an accepted standard of treatment. So, nagbago. Like what I said, it's like a moving target. So, hindi kami ngayon makagawa ng programa and I'm sure our teams are having difficulty as well kasi, yeah, you can train and train and train, pero kailan ka magko-compete? Up to now, we're still appealing that decision or that policy. And like what Chiki has said, we have moved to a more plausible tournament before the year end, and it's beach volleyball. So beach volleyball, and yeah. Sige, go ahead.
Before I turn it over to Sev, I want to know also the sentiment naman of our players. Itong yung urong sulong, andyan na, nawala pa. Mm-hmm. How much volleyball have you kept in your lives? Naglalaro pa ba kayo? Would you rather, mas gusto nyo tinatabi na muna yung bola at yung rubber shoes, kalimutan na muna dahil hindi nyo alam kung kailan dadating. What's it been like these past few months, starting with Michelle?
Well, we have a scheduled training po with Coach Sonny. So may everyday po kami naka-program sa amin every week. So we still stay in shape. We still try to, yung may mga injury, mag-improve, mag-therapy para po pagdating ng season, okay po lahat.
Hindi mo namimiss yung boses ni Coach Ramil dyan sa Zoom na yan?
Nandun naman po siya so
okay.
naririnig ko naman po yung boses ni Coach.
Bilisan mo. Ayan, bilisan mo sa Zoom, diba? Okay. Chiki, nagpa-follow up ka ba, Chiki?
Oh, hindi. I just wanted to see how Bang, aside from the practices, I'm sure ganun din. Pero how do you keep motivated? Paano mo napapatindig yung sarili mo sa umaga at how do you still keep excited about going to training?
Actually po, nung parang dapat babalik na po sa practice na pwede na, parang naka-ready na yung management namin to swab test and all. Tapos biglang cancel na pala, ganyan. So, parang lahat naman din na-disappoint. Pero syempre, kailangan din sumunod sa protocol. So, parang medyo nag-rest kami 1 or 2 weeks and parang nagbawas kami ng days to training. Pero MWF, tuloy-tuloy pa rin naman yung training namin. And yung iba naman parang nag-extra itself. So, parang syempre kailangan maging ready kami anytime soon na bumalik talaga yung PSL. And ayun, kailangan din talaga, hindi talaga mag-stop since ang hirap nga ngayon lumabas. So, talagang ikaw lang din maghahanap kung paano ka makaka-training in your own.
Okay. Fiola, ikaw nagbe-beach volleyball. Iba ba ang training ng beach at saka ng indoor volleyball? Nakakalito na ba kung anong paghahandaan mo as you prepare for the return of our PSL season?
Sobrang iba kasi sa beach volleyball, nasa sand kayo. So, dapat mabigat pag nasa sand ka tapos nakapaa ka lang. So, mas mabigat pag tumalon ka. So, dapat mag-train ka ng mga ilang months para makuha mo yung timing. Sa timing magkaiba din. Kasi if from beach volleyball ka tapos babalik ka na indoor, syempre mabilis ka na eh. So, yung timing mo sa pagpalo, iiba na siya. Tapos sa receive, mas better kasi bibilis yung receive mo. Like, parang flexible ka kahit saan. Yun po, sir.
Pero practical, from the player's point of view, una sa iyo, Fiola, na ang pagbabalik natin, okay yung beach volleyball muna. Mukhang mas konti tayo doon,
Oo, mas okay din, sir, kasi parang limit lang yung tao. Kasi dalawa lang kayo inside the court, so parang mas okay siya. Pero, depende, sir.
Depende.
Depende.
Sige, Chiki, ikaw naman.
Oo, naiisip ko, on the one hand, mas manageable kasi dalawa lang kayo at saka mas konting tao. But on the other hand, there's something about training with the team. Yung kinukwento ni Michelle at saka ni Bang. Kapag ka medyo agit na kayo, hindi nyo malaman kung anong gagawin, pero magta-train pa rin.
Siguro
Michelle?
po kasi, we have team workouts naman during the weekend, on the weekdays also, tas may mga scheduled kami with our therapy. So, feeling ko yung pagkasama lang namin sa mga Zoom meetings, it makes us feel better na parang we're still intact as a team, nagka-bonding kami, and sometimes may mga game nights din kami na parang just to hang out with no workout, just, kulitan and stuff like that.
Mukhang masarap sumama sa F2 makipagkulitan. Okay. Bang, kayo, ano ginagawa niyo? Yung question ni Miss Chiki na missing teammates, ganun.
Yun nga po, everyday nagtitraining naman po, and habang nagtitraining, merong konting chikahan. And meron naman po kaming weekly meeting with the management. So, updated pa rin naman po sa isa't isa.
Okay. Ian, anong feeling ng owners natin, mga team owners natin? Ano ang direksyon ng ating liga?
Well, we have constantly communicated with all our 8 team owners every 2 weeks. We talk to them kung may bagong updates, and we always get their opinion, lalo na nung pinayagan na tayo mag-practice since last month. Because one of the requirements of the IATF is that you have to coordinate with the local LGU where the venue of your practices will be held. So, minsan bawat LGU, iba-iba yung policy regarding allowing a group of people to congregate if they will be allowed to do it 5 at a time, 6 at a time, 7 at a time. And the venue itself has its own regulation. So medyo naging mahirap talaga. So when we introduced the concept or the possibility of doing a beach volleyball tournament, and let me tell you, ang magiging concept nito is like a bubble. We are looking at a Subic International Hotel. Right across it is where the beach volleyball courts that we use during the SEA Games are. And 4 days to, maybe magiging total of 5 to 6 days with ingress and egress. So I think it will be much easier from an organization standpoint. And Subic has been very, very helpful. They provided us with all of their regulations, with their protocol. And mukhang we just need to appeal this. In fact, we have already told PSC, the Philippine Sports Commission, about this plan. And so far, they have been very receptive, and they just want us to formalize this appeal by next week. Mas madali nga siguro. Unang-una, it's open air. It's natural ventilation, unlike indoor that it's artificial ventilation. Isa pa, 2 lang kayong nasa court. And mas maikli yung exposure nyo. Kung sa indoor volleyball, maybe it's about 1 hour and a half or 2 hours yung game dito. 30 minutes, minsan mas mabilis pa natatapos na.
Hindi pwede yung nangyari sa atin sa Cagayan de Oro, no? Yung ganong katagal, no? Hindi pwede yun.
Grabe yun. Grabe yun.
Haba na oras. Kala ko wala nang uwian yun. Pero hindi ba pwede sa Antipolo na lang tayo? Malapit kay Chiki Rowan na lang tayo?
Depende. Kung papayagan tayo nung taga-Antipolo dyan, papayagan tayo.
Sige, pero nakita kong...
Ito ng bagong tournament, Seb. Bundok Volleyball.
Okay. Nakita ko umismile ng konti si Mitch, si Viola, at saka si Bang nung nadinig, uy, Subic, baka pwede na. Okay, pag-usapan natin yun sa ating pagbabalik dito sa Sports Wage. Huwag kayong laalis.
Fans are all eager to see their PSL idols back in action. Pero waiting game pa rin muna. How are the players in fact keeping busy and sane these days? Tignan natin at ang ating sidebar. Si Jaja Santiago mukhang happy naman sa bahay. Sabi niya, these past few days I stopped doubting myself. I started to work hard to make things happen. Her teammate Ea Laura is also maintaining positive vibes at mukhang busy sa pag-vlog. Sabi niya sa caption, be strong, be happy. Can't argue with that. Si Cha Cruz Behag looking very fulfilled in being a mom to her baby boy. She said being a mother is tiring but she has found a greater purpose in life. Ganda naman. Si Abby Maranyo mukhang hindi napapagod sa kanyang newfound hobby, cycling. Here she is posing her bike with the caption, New Normal. Isa pang staying healthy with cycling si Mika Reyes. And it looks like she chooses to bike early in the morning. Nothing like good exercise to start the day. Yan ang ating sidebar. And before we talk more volleyball, beach volleyball to be exact, dahil mukhang baka mas mangyari pa yon before anything else. Tanong din natin si Fiola, ano ba yung mga pinagkakaabalan mo to make yourself forget about this pandemic? Nagbabike ka rin ba o mahilig ka din na mag-vlog, Fiola?
Siguro po everyday is yung workout namin. Tapos minsan yung sa parang maliit na business, yung pinagbibisihan ko po ngayon.
Kwento mo naman.
Secretive.
Sige na. Baka ano yan, nagbe-bake ka, no? Nagbe-bake ka ba?
Hindi po. Poultry po, yung mga eggs.
Oy, good.
Yun po.
Very good. Galing.
Nice. Kasi kailangan talaga, we really have to do things to keep our sanity talaga, di ba?
Yeah.
Pero like we were talking about it before the gap, no? Beach volleyball seems to be in the offing. How exciting is this for you, Bang?
Actually po, hindi po ako yung representative ng Santa Lucia Realtors na beach volleyball po. So, meron po talaga kaming player, si DM and Jackie. So, pero pinag-ready po kami nila coach na since player kami nung college ng beach volley.
Yeah.
Parang anytime daw, pwede daw kaming mag-2 teams. Kung
Yes.
mapipili kung if ever ma-push through tong beach volley. So, ayun. So, kailangan mag-diet. Nakaka-excite. Pero at the same time, kailangan din talagang mag-ingat.
Okay.
Agree si Doc Ian doon, Sef, di ba? Tungkol siya ng Before I turn it over to you, let me ask Ian, is it something that teams should really keep in mind because there might be a shift from indoor to beach? Maybe you should, and that means 2 players rather than 6 or a lot less than what we have. I think everybody should be enjoined to prepare themselves for anything, any possibility.
Yeah, when we had our last team owners meeting, we told the teams that you are not limited to field in just one team. You're allowed to field in 2 to 3 teams, para ma-maximize natin yung stay natin sa Subic. And I think the teams have already cascaded that information to the players na we're going to field in 2 or 3 teams, so you better get ready. Like what Bang said, she's starting to diet already. Nagpapapayat na siya. And mind you, si Bang was a very, very good beach volleyball player during her college days.
Exactly. So, pagsikat pa lang ng araw, naglalaro na tayo sa dalampasigan ng Subic o sakasakalit. Mitch, you played both indoor and beach volleyball. Any preference between the two?
Well, ako personally, I like beach volleyball kasi I don't mind naman getting dark and playing under the sun. And I guess it's better for my injuries also. And mas ma-focus ko yung skills ko and my communication with my teammates. So, for me, I prefer beach volleyball po.
Okay. Talk, Ian, napag-usapan mo na nasabi mo kanina, there are some issues about professional teams being allowed. And what is the status ba ng PSL para maintindihan ng lahat?
We always have mentioned that the PSL cannot be categorized as a pro league or a professional league because we allow the teams to have 4 student players to be in the lineup. And I think the GAB was very, when we told the GAB about this, especially Chairman Bahamitra, he realized that yes, the PSL is a young league, volleyball is a young sport, but we told him that we are headed in that direction. In fact, before we didn't have a limit to the college players in each team. Then 2 years ago, we limited it to 6. And now we brought it down to 4. So habang lumalaki yung liga, dumadami ang players, then maybe we can start having teams without any college players and then start the process of applying to be a professional league. Because ultimately, that's the goal.
Okay.
Unfortunately, sa ngayon, hindi pa pwede kasi maraming tatamaan na teams because of the student athletes that they currently have in their roster.
Okay, so that clarifies that. Chiki, ikaw na magtanong bago tayo mag-gap.
And si Mitch, balikan kita, no? Because ikaw, you really do go from indoor to beach, no? Na-apekto ba yung indoor game mo kapag nabababad ka sa beach?
Actually, it's better po for me kasi dahil nga po mahirap gumalaw sa beach volley dahil nga po sand, mas bumibilis po yung galaw ko sa indoor. Mas nakakatalon po ako since yung sa beach volley po is vertical. So, mas nakakataas po siya ng talon and the stamina also.
Right. So, nakakatulong. Parang cross-training. It actually helps. Oo. I
Here,
have one more.
Sige, Marta. Sige lang.
Napaisip lang ako nung kinukwento ni Ian, and we know that you are very much in touch with the IATF, Ian. Pero does it help or will it help that they hear the sentiments of the players? Like we know it happened in the States. Yung mga NBA players, ang ingay. And I think for the most part, NBA came back. It happened because of the clamor of both the fans that was brought on by the players. Kung sila, si Piola, si Bang mag-ingay or ipaalam sa IATF, makakatulong ba yun, Ian?
Yeah, of course. Pero tingin ko mas malaki yung may tutulong kung ikaw, Chiki, mismo ang magsasabi sa Chiki. But seriously,
set the bar very high. Sopra naman. Let's lower the expectations.
Sige. But seriously, alam mo, ang daming sportsmen sa IATF. Naiintindihan nila yung value ng sports at ng physical health, no, yung health ng mga players, and not only the players but in general the population. So naiintindihan nila, and it's just really the regulating agency who will take care or supervise kung doon sa particular sport na yon. And GAB obviously clear dahil lahat ng professional sports sa kanila, it's actually the PSC who is in charge of non-professional sports. But PSC, ilan lang naman yung staff ng PSC, hindi naman ganun karami. And we really need to work with them. Especially, I think the NSA should be brought in. Kasi NSA sila yung direct access dun sa bawat sport. Imagine how many sports there are and most of them non-professional. So, nag-iingat lang siguro, but they're sportsmen and they know the value of sports in the community. And don't worry, pag sinabi kong sabi ni Miss Chiki Ro Puno, mag-start na tayo, magsa-start na.
Ang lakas ng tiwala niya sa'yo, partner, ha?
Ang lakas! Tagal na namin magkasama niya.
Dali, sige, mag-break muna. Tatawagan ko muna yung PSC tsaka ISDF. Babalik kami. Marami pa kami pag-usapan. Diyan lang kayo. We'll be back. And we are back here on Sports Page, still talking about volleyball and the PSL, maybe beach volleyball in the offing. But before that, let's look at That's What They Said. For tonight's That's What They Said, we asked who is the PSL player you miss the most and why? Gretchen Barrios Panilaran says, Mika Reyes, my favorite or forever idol. At Rashard 132, lahat ng players ng Signal na mimiss ko, yung intensity na laro nila, yung kumakapit pa rin, ipanalo ang set kahit tambak. Wow! Jaime Correyes, Aiza Maiso, simply the best in her craft. Alan Idia says, Abby Maranyo. Chang Abby adds a certain swag every time she plays. She'll play mind games on you every time they score a point. Nakakaaliw, no? Alam mo, Sev, this is really, this is just a peek into the passion that the fans have for this sport. Kaya sila talaga yung pinaka-inaalala natin. Tayo mga fans kasi we are the ones who miss seeing these ladies the most. Yes. Bang, ikaw, how in touch are you with your fans?
Medyo meron pong communication ngayon since nagbe-bake po kasi ako. So parang medyo busy po. So minsan nakakausap po sila, parang order sila, tapos hindi nila na nakamiss yung games nyo, ganyan. So yung iba po talaga na parang sobrang deep talaga into volleyball, medyo ini-encourage ko po sila na to wait, na parang relax lang kami din, nag-wait, ganyan.
Kakatuwa talaga yung fans. Pero teka muna, nasingit mo na yung baking mo. Siyempre, kailangan natin busisiin niya ng konti. Alam na natin yung poultry business ni Nicola. Mitch, isipin mo na yung business na pag-uusapan mo, ha? After I'll ask you. Bang, anong specialty mo, Bang?
Nagbe-bake po ako ng cookies and crinkles.
Wow!
Pag nag-umpisa season, magdala ka, ha?
Sure, Sir Seb.
Anong pangalan ng cookies niya? Bang! Di ba?
Atlet Oven by Bang.
Okay, very good. Sige, partner.
Oo, Mitch, ikaw, meron ka bang business sideline?
Meron po. I just started my clothing line po, Rainbow Sheep Clothing po.
Wow.
So, yan.
Nice! May pagka-fashionista. Hindi naman naman. Oo. And how is that keeping you sane, shall we say, during these hard times? Nakakatulong.
Ayun po, kasi I'm a student pa rin po eh. So I have school on the weekdays, tapos workout, then business, orders, mga kakausap na mga suppliers and stuff like that. So ayun po.
Kayo ba ang tatlong player? Pwera si Doc Ian dito. Handa na ba kayong tanggapin na wala na tayong PSL season for the rest of the year? Let's say hindi talaga payagan. Bang, ikaw muna.
Parang nung sinabi po na babalik na, parang may schedule na kami for swab test, parang inaayos na din na parang by force lang din talaga yung magti-training with one coach. Tapos parang inaalay na din talaga kung saan kami pag-stayin since meron naman talagang facilities ng Santa Lucia. Parang completely, parang ready na talaga kami bumalik. Okay. So parang the next week po, parang biglang nagpa-meeting po ulit, nagpatawag po yung manager namin. And yun nga, parang sinabi po na canceled na nga po this year ba? Or basta po hindi matutuloy, parang hindi mo natuloy yung swab test, ganyan. So parang lahat naman po talaga na-disappoint kasi parang lahat din naman po nag-aantay na makabalik. And syempre, parang nagtitraining kami, parang nasa isip namin nagtitraining kami sa wala anytime soon or baka beach volley yung mauna nga, nabanggit nga po sa amin. And baka at least pag bumalik siya early next year, ready pa din talaga kami.
Okay. Thank you. Piola, ikaw naman. Ready ka na bang tanggapin na wala tasang volleyball na, alam mo, Ilongga ito eh. Wala na tayong volleyball for the rest of the season. Matatanggap mo ba?
For me, sir, hindi siguro. Kasi parang nag-look forward pa din kaming lahat na magkaroon ng liga ngayon. Pero nga, yung sinabi nga ni Sir Ogie nung last na parang 70-30 na lang. So parang naano kami lahat na dismaya. Pero parang pinaboost pa rin yung ano namin na dapat lang magpa-condition everyday kasi babalik at babalik din yun.
Salamat, Gid. Mitch, ikaw, ready ka na? No more volleyball this season?
Well, ano naman po, naka-mindset naman po sa amin na baka nga po hindi matuloy. So parang kami, nire-ready lang po namin yung sarili namin na baka nga po anytime bumalik po kami. Pero syempre po, it's better safe than sorry naman po, di ba? Mas okay naman po maging safe po tayong lahat kaysa po na ma-push through, magkasakit po yung iba. So parang kami, push po sa sarili namin na mag-workout everyday, na gawin lahat ng pinapagawa sa amin, na stay in shape pa rin po kami. So, ayun po.
Well said, well said. Partner?
Oo, sige. Ito na, nag-oora de peligro na naman tayo. Napakabilis na 30 minutes. But before we finally say goodbye, Ian, let me ask you. Si Piola mentioned the 70-30. That's her take, no? How accurate is that, you think, as far as the chances of the PSL happening this year?
Well, ako, honestly, I think it's a 50-50 for indoor volleyball, but it's almost 100% for beach volleyball. The main difference is actually the time component. Indoor volleyball for one short conference takes about 2.5 months, Chiki. And with a change in the quarantine category that happens every 2 weeks, a very volatile situation here in NCR, it's so hard to give a program or a definite schedule kapag like what happened the last time, naurong tayo, then bumalik. But I hope it's going to open up na tuloy-tuloy, no? However, beach volleyball is just about 4 days. And you can choose a site that is mas magaan yung quarantine level and less people. So it's really easier to conduct than indoor. But definitely, we just want to have something going on for 2020 para naman may maalala tayo. And it would serve as a jump-off point for 2021.
Yan ang gusto ko sa iyo, Ian. Lagi kang optimistic.
Oo naman.
What a great show, Chiki.
That's right. That's why we had you back here, Ian. We knew you'd have good news for us, di ba? Keep our ladies motivated as well. Doc Ian, as always, thank you. And Piola, Mitch, and Bang, hang in there. Narinig naman natin. Mas maganda yung ads na binitawan ni Doc Ian, 50-50 for indoor, 100% for beach volleyball. That's a great way to end the show. Thanks so much for joining us, girls.
Okay. Thank you very much to all our guests. But hang on. If there's one thing about the PSL, its fans are some of the most vocal, the most loyal, and most passionate. It's very simply put, they miss watching you players. They miss watching the teams. They're shouting at each other on social media. Wala akong masagot. Tinatanong ko kung Sports said, kailan ba magkakaroon ng PSL? Finally, today, we get inspiration from Mitch, from Piola, as well as Bang and Doc Ian, that there is that possibility your PSL will return. In behalf of Chiki Roa Puno, thank you for joining us. This has been your volleyball edition of Sports Page.